How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming out, been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This'll be the start of the picture perfect. Watch you.
Hello, Mr. Charles. Welcome to Hump Day Wednesday, where we're going to be going after track in your neighborhood, not too far from you, right, Keeneland?
That's right. It's my favorite track. I love that.
No. Does that mean that you're loaded up with winners there, or what does that mean?
Well, I mean, usually you get some prices over there. So, but it's a beautiful track. Anyone that is even in the vicinity of the area should stop by and always check it out. Even if it's for a couple of races, it's so beautiful.
Haven't been there yet, but I it's not that far of a drive for me, like 6-7 hours. So maybe I'll trek down there one day and head over there with you. We'll spend a Saturday or Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday at Keeneland trying to win a few bucks. That's what we're going to try to do today. If last night you had a good chance or not to catch Katie Larson from Southern Belle Thoroughbreds, this wonderful young lady has helped more than 900 thoroughbreds after the racing careers are over get into a new career, from barrel racing to showing to dressage to whatever else the horses can do. And she also has a good conscience about it, because she won't let them go to the slaughterhouse or any of that sort of stuff. And a couple of other things she won't let them do. And they're explicitly written in the contracts that I guess she gets them back if they don't. So I will link over to her site at horseracingtoday.net. So if you're interested in helping Katie relocate more horses, there will be some information over at horseracingtoday.net where you can reach out to her and help her. Tonight, we're going to have another fantastic guest on, Jarrett Loveberry. I think this is a gentleman's closing in on 1,800 wins, and looks like he could be on a horse that's headed for the Kentucky Derby as well, Charles.
That's right. He's even riding a couple of horses that looks at Keeneland today, and yeah, he's got a really good shot on that horse. Definitely one of them to watch out for. Let's put that away.
All right. So are you ready to watch out for the horses we're going to pick today at Keeneland?
Of course I am.
All right. So let's get cracking, because we're a few minutes away from race number 1, which is a 7 furlong, almost 7. It's an asterisk 7 furlong. It's somewhere around 7 furlongs. Wherever they decide to put the gates today, it'll be close. But in any case, at 7 furlongs, they're going to go claiming $25,000 for a nice purse of $56,000. Mr. Charles, profile of a 7 furlong winner in 7 racers. Stalkers have done best. 2, however, have gone wire to wire. So far, nobody's won from the rail. So Mirth in Merriment could have a little bit of troubles today. Posts 2 through 7 have been the best. 8 and out, catch a small penalty. Charles, speed might not be the biggest factor, but if it is, it looks like Mirth and Merriment with that rail. And Super Tale of Houdini could be fast.
Yeah. It looks like that 5 is got a 31% chance of having that lead at that quarter pole. But, you do have a couple other speed horses in there. You got the 4, the 7, and the 8 that all kind of want it. So I think they're going to be pushing it a little bit. I like this. I think the 7 might even take the lead myself personally. But when it comes to simulation odds, it looks like we have the 4?
Yeah, the 4
is slightly under 4-1. The morning line says 6-1. The 5 is slightly over 3-1, and the morning line says 8-1. And then that 7, 4-1, and the morning line says 10-1. Now that's a nice overlay.
Yeah, and if you look at the C-zone too, a couple of them, the overlay here, the 7, it's got a 78% chance essentially to get a trip that should be comfortable to its running style. A couple of them in the 70%. So we do a simulation of the race to see when the horses run the best, how closely this race will match when they've run their best races. So you see here, those 3 horses, the 2, the 6, and the 7, should get an excellent trip. If we take a look at our way to the winner's circle worksheet, we'll find the 1 and the 8 are your E-types. They're their pilots. They want to be on the lead for sure. So the inside and the outside have some speed. The 2, the 5, the 6, and the 7, they're PC types. So they're pressure closer types. Also, it should just be a V, because they tend to be the most versatile horses in the group. Your 3 and the 4 are your closers. When you see a shape like this, where most of the horses are middle back, I think the 1 or the 8 could have a good shot to get to the front, maybe go wire to wire. If that's the case, that one horse has the most early speed, But if you look at that late pace number over here, that's pretty red. Kind of struggles at the end of races. So the best combination of early speed and late speed looks like for the front runners belongs to the 8. If you do combine the beginning with the race with the end of the race, that 3-horse Edgy Angel has a 5-point advantage over everybody else. Charles, 3-horse could be a fun one to beat. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, he's in my picks, but I like that 4. The 4 has won last 2 times out, claimed last time out. This horse has that tactical speed. Sit there third or fourth and probably give it at the end. Trainer gets 15% first after a claim, so it's not too bad. So for first race here and this everything, I think that's my first choice. But as we talk about speed, the 7 and the 1 I think are going to go out there pretty good. And 7 has speed here as my second choice. Drops in class today. Trainer gets 27% when he takes them from turf to dirt. And the trainer also gets 25% when he rests them up 90 plus days. So you got a really nice fresh horse here. And then the 1 is my third choice. My problem with this horse is kind of does stop at the end. And this horse is dropping in class today. It's a 33% second after a claim the trainer gets. And there's cuts back today. So got some positives for this horse. So he's cutting back in distance. That's going to help him. And then the 3 is my price horse. The horse drops in class. It's got that tactical, but more on the closing side of speed. Should like this distance. This is the first time actually going at this distance, but he should like it.
You're going to do a pick 5 out of the box?
Yeah, pick 5. I'm going for the fences right away. I'm taking my top 3 picks here. And then in the second leg, which is, I believe is probably one of the most wide open races there is, I'm taking at least 4 in there. I would love to take 8 at least, or if not the all. And then I got a single in that third leg, and then I'm going with my top 2 in the fourth and the top 3 in the fifth.
All right. So in the first race, I'm going to start off with your long shot 3, which is 5-2 in the morning line right now. Wow. So it's a little bit up from the, a post time odds. So it's a little bit up from what the morning line maker set it at, but pretty close to the simulated odds there. So no big deal with that 3-horse. Edgy Angel is taking a small drop in class here. Did run the top last race speed figure. I do like that combination. Has 19 furlongs of workout since that last race speed figure race. So should continue to be fit, firm, and ready to have some fun. The 4-horse Abitibi, first off the claim for the trainer here, winner of 2 in a row. Decent workout, but the thing that concerns me about our 4-horse Charles is it is moving up in class. Number 7, April is no fool. It's overlay, as we see here on our simulation page. Does have a high Z-zone score as well. Been off since August the 4th, so a touch concerning in that regard. But the 4 decent prep workouts tell me the horse should be ready to run. Finally, Super Tale of Houdini was a tough call for me over the 2-horse Princess Nina. But the 5-horse has been facing much tougher company, drops in class, and has just been the more consistent performer. I'm going to do a trifecta, 3-4-7 with the 3-4, with the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. And the reasons we are a little bit behind schedule today is because I misread the PPs, because it's a little bit tricky in some respects, Charles. Because you look here, it says double and exact to $1 minimum, and then right after it, it says trifecta, pick 3, pick 4. And I was like, wait a minute, is it I thought they were all $1, so I'm running back to change everything. And then I reread it and I was like, man, what are you doing, stupid? Because actually I looked at Twin Spires to see where it was on the line online, and it said 50 cents. Anyway, this is 4.5 furlongs. It's a maiden special weight for $80,000. The purse is 80 grand at 4.5 furlongs. Surprisingly, Charles, it's not just get to the front and win, although early speed does win. 34% go wire to wire. There is a rail discount. My sweetheart, Danny, could struggle right there. 2 and out, play fair, and there's a slightly inside bias. These are all first-time starters, Charles, so it doesn't really matter we couldn't do any kind of simulations or anything. So the only thing we can do is we can get to our pick. So go ahead.
Yeah, when it goes to the form, I mean, the 12 had a plenty of works under her belt. And the Dam has 3 winners from 3 starters. Ward gets 29% with first timers. Solid workout pattern. So, I mean, right now, that's my top choice. The 4 is my second choice. Dam gets 2 winners from 3 starters. Solid workout pattern. Bred for speed. And then the 2 horse is my third choice. Dam had 1 winner from 2 starters. Solid workout pattern again. Bred very well. And then the 9, my price horse. Dam had 1 winner from 3 starters. Solid works. Bred for speed. And when it comes to all these babies, basically, you got to look at them too at the track or on the TV when you're looking at them. Some of them will get very nervous, so they might get a little washed out. So that's probably the first thing I'd be looking at with these babies like that.
Yeah, I was looking at the workouts. They're really the only thing you get to go on, right?
Yeah.
The 12 horse, to me, the main reason you want the 12 horse from when we had Chantel Sutherland on the Horse Center show way back in the day when I was still doing that routinely with Sean. She had mentioned when she rode a Wesley Ward horse that they're different out of the gate. She said that you literally almost have to hold on for dear life because they just spring out with so much force. So when you have these short sprints, and especially at places like Keeneland and Wesley Ward horses in there, you know it's trained to get out of the gate and get going. Yeah, whether it does it or not is another story. I like the 9 horse as well. Happy Baytown. 3 of the last 4 workouts were bullet workouts, and they were really fast. 2 horse Unheard. The last workout was 46-2, breezing from the gate. Charles, breezing from the gate and 46-2 for 4 furlongs. That's almost fast enough to run in this race.
Yeah, that's very fast.
Yeah, that's quick, my man. And then finally, I really wanted to put the 3 horse in here. It was a long shot at 30-1, but I got the wrong horse here, Scratch. It's not the 4, it's the 3. My apologies, folks. But the 3 horse was the one I wanted, but it's not in. So I went with the 11 horse. It was a tough call for me over Charles's 4 horse, his second choice right in there. But the fractions, I mean, the workouts look like it might be just a nose faster than the 4. I'm going to do a trifecta: 2, 9, 12 with the 9, 12 with the 2, 4, 9, 11, and 12. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if a number that neither one of us has wins this one. That's the reason why I stayed away from that pick 5 there early on. Otherwise, I mean, it just becomes really difficult. So it looks like they're getting close. Let's see. Let me look at the video here they're going in for race 1, Charles. So let's rewind back to race 1, our picks. I got the 3 on top. You have the 4 on top. Right now, the bettors have the 3 on top at 2-1. The next closest favorite, it looks like the 4 and the 1 are second favorites, both at 4-1. The 7 horse, 9-2 is next. And it looks like everybody else after, the 3 horse, the 2 horse is 7-1. Everybody else after that is double digits. So it looks like they're fighting with that 7 horse a little bit. It's not too interested in running today. Maybe its odds will go a little higher. Yes, you're going to see everybody run to the window now and cancel their tickets, right?
Pretty much.
It's the thing about the internet. You can just click a button and be done with it.
Yeah. No waiting in line and screaming, come on, come on.
Yeah. When they used to go to the OTB, the crazy thing is you got, 20, 25 minutes between races in most places?
Yeah.
And then everybody gets up with like a 90 seconds left to post, to run up in the line. And then they start screaming at everybody for not betting faster, even though you sound like an auctioneer when you're trying to get your bets out so you can get the hell out of there.
Yep. And if you ever go on a big, busy day, big stakes day, you might as well just, right after the race, go on in line.
Yeah, just have an app. Just bet from the app,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, it's tough if you live in like Illinois and you go to Kentucky because you can't do it because you're out of state, right?
Yep.
And as they get rolling, Charles, their 1 horse, as we thought, is the one that got up on the lead. Mirth and Merriment. Let's see if it can indeed hold that lead. To the outside it looks to me like the 8 horse, which is another one we thought Rev's Run might have a shot to be competitive out of the gate. Opening quarter 23 and 25 for 7 furlongs. I don't know at Keeneland. I think that's probably on the borderline a little bit fast. Charles, what do you think?
It might be borderline fast, but it's right there. It's good.
Yeah, for claiming 50,000 it is. I think it's probably borderline fast. The 4 horse is loping along, coming up after an opening half in 46. Now I know 46 is fast for 7 furlongs.
Yes.
No question about that. The 3 is still the one's still kind of holding in there. Hasn't done his traditional fold yet. And it doesn't look like he's going to right about now because he's up on that lead. The 4 is trying to make up ground, going wide. And the jockey's asking for the 4 to do a little bit more, but so far, not so good. It looks like this 1 horse is going to take them from gate to wire today, Mr. Charles. It is going to go 1. The 4's stride is really shortening badly, so I think but you don't really have much chasing him down. It's going to be the 1 as your 6th, 7th length leader, followed by the 4 and then the 3. So 1, 4, and 3. So Charles, you're alive with in your pick 5 with a 9-2 shot to open it up. I was just concerned with that 1 horse fading. That's why I discounted him to my 5th pick.
Well, today, like I said, he cuts back and the trainer gets 33% second after the claim. That was the key for me to put him in my top 3.
Beautiful. All right, so let's go off to the 3rd race, Mr. Charles. Race number 3. This one is indeed a 6 furlong race, Mr. Charles, at 6 furlongs. So this maiden $100,000 race. The purse is $100,000. A 6 furlong race favors early speed, like we saw on that opening leg there. 42% go wire to wire. Post positions 1 through 3, a little under par. 4 and out, they are a little bit fair, a little bit better than fair. The farther you are from the rail, a little bit better bonus you get. In race number 3, Charles, if speed holds up, boy, sure looks like the princess says will be the princess to beat.
Yeah, the 4 horse is basically a 67% chance of having that lead. And, on my charts, I think so too. I think this one's going to be out in front all the way. Can you catch them? Maybe the 3 can, because the 3 does have that speed to keep up and pressure. And if something happens to the 4 breaking out of the gate, maybe the 3 might find herself on the lead. So with that being said, the simulation odds, we have the 3 itself about where it's supposed to be, even money all the way across. The 5 is 2-1 for us, but the morning line says 4-1. So that's not a bad overlay.
And a strong C-zone score there for that 5 horse as well. Should get a very comfortable trip with this bunch. Should fit in nicely with this crew. Our way to the winner circle worksheet for race number 3, we see that the 6 horse looks like it could be it's an E-type. So that means it wants to be on the lead to go wire to wire to have a shot to win. Looks like based upon this crew, that's not going to happen. A lot of times you see that E horse, if it jumps to the lead, will probably fade. The 4 horse should sit right behind the 6 horse, although it does have the most early speed, along with the 3, which is a closer. So that 3 horse is what we call a left arrow horse. It's got some late kick. You can see in here it has the most late kick of the horses with experience, along with the 5. So it should be close to the front. Has a lot of late kick. Should be very competitive as they run for the wire. Charles, as far as the early speed, late speed combination, it looks like the 3 horse and the 4 horse have a little bit of advantage over everybody else in this spot. So those 2 could produce the winners. I know they produced our 1st and 2nd picks.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. I have the 3 as my top choice. This horse ran 2nd last time out, and Watt gets 21%, 90+ days. And he's definitely one of those trainers I totally trust with some time off with. He's a great trainer, putting good foundation under them. He's got solid works, well bet last time. So that's why I'm going with him. The 4 is my 2nd choice, ran 2nd last time. Well bet also last time. Like we said, has the speed to really have the lead. Personally, I think there's a jockey upgrade on this horse. And then the 6 horse is my 3rd choice. Tactical speed. So I think this horse should be sitting, either if he does have lead, then he might be in trouble. I think he should sit 2nd or 3rd personally. Bred for this distance, but he's also bred for turf. The trainer gets 14% when he takes them a route to a sprint. And then my price horse is the 2. Tactical speed, most likely be closing. Bred to have some speed. cuts back in distance today. So that might be the key to this horse, is cutting back.
The 3-horse Amaretti is our good friend. It's 1-to-1 morning line odds, but it's our good friend Chris Parmalou's favorite betting angle. It's a horse that's in the maiden race that finished second last time out. Says he beat every horse except the one that won. And he did so with the top last race speed figure, although it's been off since June. The workouts are only okay coming into this spot. The 4-horse last time out was the second race in its career, and it ran faster fractions than it did in its first race. So signs of improvement there. And you're mentioning that there's a little bit of a jockey change there. So IRAD flips up onto this 4-horse, which should give it a good trip. Kids last laugh. It's making its first race since late January. So we've been in the barn for a bit, getting a little R&R. And that last workout was pretty fast, Charles. 4 furlongs and 47.4. So indicating that 5-horse, Kids Last Laugh, is ready to go again. And it does have that combination of high C-zone and overlay, which we have seen come home over and over and over again. And closing it out with the 6-horse, Blame the Toll. It has speed at routes. Now it's cutting back to 6 furlongs. If it can maintain that speed, but a lot of times you don't see route speed necessarily hold up with sprint speed. And we saw that when we went through our pace sheets back there, that the 6's early pace numbers were not on par with the sprinters. So maybe it gets a piece at the end. Who knows? Maybe they push it out to the front with that extra stamina from running routes, have a crack at it. I'm going to try 3, 4, 5 with the 3, 4, with the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. A part of my $100 budget today for the race card at Keeneland. Our next stop on that Keeneland card is the 4th race. The 4th race is one that they're going to run. I think they're going to run 6 furlongs again. Yeah, $30,000 claiming non-winners of 2 lifetime. A nice purse of $47,000. Again, it looks like you want to be outside. Posts do a little bit better than the inside posts so far. 42% have gone wire to wire. So you better have some giddy up and go when the gates open, Charles. And when the gates open up here, it looks like Don't Wait Up has a lot of giddy up and go.
Yeah, 56% chance of having that lead at that quarter pole. Yeah, that horse definitely has the speed to steal this race. But I think the 4 might try to have a say in that. It has a 24% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole, and possibly even the 5, might be pressuring that horse. When it comes to odds, though, our simulation odds, we have it slightly under even money on the 1, and it's 3.5 to 1 on morning line. That's a good overlay. And then that's it when it comes to overlays on the odds.
Yeah, and most of the C-zone scores look like they're pretty high. So this should be a race where everybody fits exactly where they want to be. As far as the race shape is concerned, we see here, you got a lot of speed up in here. The 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, those guys all want to be forwardly placed. It looks like of that early speed, it could be kind of contentious because the 4, the 1, the 6, the 5, the 3, if you look, all of them are really close to each other with a high early pace. I'm going to be surprised to see this race get a little hot as far as when they come home in terms of closers. Looks like that 10 horse has a little bit of advantage, but pretty well bunched up in there except for the 3, the 4, the 5. That trio a little bit lagging. The 8 horse, unfortunately, so far in terms of its races has been no more than 5 lengths closer to the front at the end to the leader. So it gets that never been close designation in there, Charles. To see if it can overcome that today in race number 4. Take us away with your picks, my friend.
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with the 6. This horse ran 3rd last time out. Does have that speed to either A, keep up at least and be in the catbird seat. The trainer gets 22% with 90+ days off. Back on the dirt. This is the first time gelding. There's a lot of pluses here for this horse. So then the 4 horse is my second choice. This one definitely has some speed. I actually think this one's might be out in front. Amos gets 21% in 90+ days. He does that very well. He cuts back in distance today. They drop in class, blinkers off today, and first time gelding for this horse. So you got a couple of angry horses in this race. And then my third choice here is the 1. The 1 drops in class today. The trainer gets 22% 90+ days. adds the blinkers, gets IRAD. So you got a fresh horse with a new set of equipment, and you got IRAD on top. That makes that horse dangerous. And then my price horse is that 10. 10 drops today. It's got some of that tactical speed to close at the end. Ran third the last time out. So there's a couple of pluses for this horse.
Pick 5 again.
Pick 5 again, going for the fence. In my last pick 5, I only took the 4 and the 6 in this race. Now this time I'm taking 4 horses, my top 4 picks. And then the second leg, I'm going my top 4 picks. Third leg, my top 4 picks. And then I'm single.
Oof, getting aggressive in that back end there for sure.
They're going to be short prices, so I'm trying to pick up prices in the front part. That's what I'm trying to do.
I got the 5 horse here headline report as the top pick for me. Debut on fast dirt was indeed a fast race. It won. Then it tried to go to some stakes races, and the track was then downgraded to just good. Maybe didn't like the track, maybe didn't like the competition. Pretty stiff competition for sure. Then, for whatever reason, they tried to put the horse on all weather for the next 2 races. Didn't seem to appreciate the all weather either. So now they're going to rewind it back to where it started successfully on fast dirt. If it can run back to that debut, I think that 5 horse could be one to reckon with. The 1 horse, Don't Wait Up, taking a big drop in class as well. Going to get IRAD. That's a good thing to see. And the horse also broke its maiden at $100,000 maiden special weight, which is the highest amongst the group. Does have some decent workouts getting ready for this spot. Heartbreaker, the 6 horse. It is indeed the top 5-year-old in this field, which I think is important because everybody else, except for 1 horse, is 3 or 4. I think the 8 horse was the other 5-year-old, but as you can see, it's never been close when we did the race shape stuff. Lots of long workouts, a lot of 5 and 6 furlong workouts, Charles, for Heartbreaker, preparing for its first race since June the 17th. As a trainer, one that has trained horses in the past, Charles, why would a trainer put a bunch of 5 and 6 furlong workouts into a horse versus 3 and 4 furlong workouts?
Well, you're just going for condition. It's all about foundation and condition. So if they're in shape, they could do it. Most likely this horse has a certain amount of speed, and they're not worried about putting speed in the horse. They're worried about condition.
Making sure that it has the legs to make it the whole 3/4 of a mile.
Right.
The 10 horse, the final choice for me, Keen Hair. This horse ran its last race, the last race it ran out, tied for the best speed effort that the horse has ever put on paper. And then went to the sidelines for a bit, but since then came back to the track, exercised a bit, and in doing so, ran its fastest workout ever. A nice bullet workout. So I think this horse maybe is finally getting what it means to be a racehorse, Charles. I'm going to do a pick 5 just like you. I'm going to go with the 1-5, with the 3-8, the 12, and then the 5-6, the 8, 11, and 12, and then the 1 horse. I'm going to single that 1 in the back. I think all the scratches at the end really made that one more of a single than that 11 horse in the deeper field. Our next race as we move forward is race number 5. Only 8 races. We'll be back tomorrow to do Keeneland as well. We're going to start a bit earlier tomorrow because I will be in Philadelphia, not in Chicago. Charles has some stuff to do. So make sure you keep up with our social sites at Horse Race, the number 2 day. You see it down there below. Hit the subscribe button while you're here on YouTube. Hit the bell as well. That way, when we go live tomorrow for Keeneland Day 2, you'll be notified. But nonetheless, you can always come back and watch it at your leisure. We do put the race times in the description so you can come back and watch race specific as many times as you want. And then, of course, make sure you tell your friends about us if you like what you see here. In race number 5, they're going to go 1 1/8 miles, a long way on that turf, Mr. Charles, for a allowance of $110,000. Nice purse of $110,000 too. That's just a day's work for Charles. This one, they've only run 2 races so far at the distance, both of which were won by speed, but neither of them went wire to wire. I think they both were second, so they sat in that co-pilot seat, Charles. If we're looking for the co-pilot in race number 5, I think we're probably looking at, well, you got a whole host of choices to be the co-pilot.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now you have the 9 horse has a 27% chance of having that lead at the quarter. But like you said, there's plenty of other speed in here. You got the 8 at 18%. The 11 is at 10% to having that lead at the quarter pole. So you got plenty enough speed for this route race to keep it honest. When you got simulation odds here, we're looking at let me see. Well, do we have anybody? The 11 is just under 3-1, and the morning line is 6-1 odds. So that's a nice overlay.
We're looking at this in terms of C-zone, Tuna. The 5, the 6, and the 7, that trio has the strongest combination. Those three long shots, they may not win the race, but the way that the early pace sets up for these three, they should be running very comfortably where they've run well in the past. Now, of course, these are maiden races, right, Charles? If I remember correctly. No, is this a maiden race or not? No, this is that allowance 110. So they've run in good company before. I would expect that you're going to see them be right where they want. The question is, will they capitalize? I would not be at all shocked to see one or two of them at a big price come into the trifecta or the exacta at the end. As we look at the other parts of this race, the way the early race shapes up for race number 5, this is the interesting pattern to me because you see the 6 horses, your lone E. Thank you, Tuna. We appreciate that. Now, make sure you tell your friends about us so we can get some more love. We always appreciate some love. So thumbs up on YouTube, thumbs up on Facebook. They help us with their algorithms, and we'd appreciate that. But the 6 horse is your lone E horse. So if it can get to the front, it has a pretty good shot to maybe go wire to wire. But unfortunately, the 2 and the 11 have a little bit more early speed. So that horse could be challenged, taxed if it does get to the front. Maybe it makes it a candidate to fold at the end. And you can see over here its late pace number being the reddest of them all. Maybe gets to the lead as that bunny that they're all chasing and then falls off. The 8 horse is a pressure horse. He's got some late speed, could run a very comfortable race. The late speed's down here. That belongs to all of these closers, and you got a ton of closers in here, Charles. I think a few of them will probably move forward. That 11 horse of the closers and the 2 horse look like they have the most early speed. So those 2 might be more forwardly placed, giving them a shot to run a comfortable early pace and then use those late legs to come home. What do you say?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a tough race here. It's kind of interesting. The 8 horse, I ended up as my first choice. I think this horse has the right tactical speed to sit there around 2nd or 3rd, probably most likely behind the 9. And anyway, it's the second start after a layoff. The trainer gets 19% with that angle. You get Tyler, which is a hot jockey right now.
And he usually does good at Keeneland too.
Yeah, and he does good at Keeneland, is correct. And so I think there's a lot of good combinations there for this horse. The 3 horse is my second choice. This horse drops in class today. Maker gets 17% with 90-plus days off. IRAD jumps on. This horse is well bet last time, so that makes this horse pretty dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then the 7 is another horse that has tactical speed, but probably most likely for closing. This horse is bred for this. The jockey gets 19% overall, so why not in this type of race? And then the 2 horse is my price horse. This horse is kind of interesting. He tries the turf. He's bred for the turf, and they add blinkers today. So just toss out that last race, and actually this horse has a shot in this race.
I'm going to start with the 3 horse. That one is Jaru. That sounds like the right name for me. A lot of these horses today are coming back after extended breaks. That includes the 3 horse Jaru. Been off since September. The most recent first start off a bench, I think it finished 2nd, was right there until the end. So it does run okay first up. I think IRAD jumping together with Mike Maker is a combination that's not that frequent, but when they do team up, they hit at a sparkling 38%, which is big numbers for both of those guys. So it kind of tells me, if I read through the lines there a little bit, when Mike Maker and IRAD Ortiz are at the same meet and Mike Maker thinks he has a horse that's ready to win, he calls IRAD to make sure he gets the ride he wants out of that horse. Is that how you would read that, Charles?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, but Mike Maker is a top tier trainer. So he kind of gets.
But he ain't winning at 38% standalone.
No, but I mean, he does get a great jockeys to ride for him. But yeah, I agree with you on that angle. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of infrequent. So when you see it come together, It's not like 7 times, but I mean, it's infrequent enough that it happens enough that it's common, but it's not, 200 mounts like he's going to get for Asmussen or something, or even more than that, 600, whatever he gets. Policy option, the 12 horse is my second selection in here. If you look at this horse's late pace, man, this one's absolutely going to be strolling at the end of the race. Catching a little bit of extra distance might help this horse in here. If it can get off just a little bit of a good break, and in this race, there's really not a ton of early speed, so I think it'll be more forwardly placed than usual. And that's the case. This horse closes out with a rush over and over and over again. Dripping Gold, the 8 horse, making its second start after a layoff. They're 50-50 on the resume for that one. But when you look through all the turf races, this one has managed to put forth the best effort out of all of them on grass. And find the 11 Explosive, which is what that horse was through the first half mile of its last race. It does look like its preferred surface is all weather, though it has hit the board, I think, at 4 of 9 without a win on the grass. But if we look at our overlays, this 11 horse is about 3-1 according to our simulated odds. And the morning line has it at 6-1. So maybe we catch a little bit of overlay there for our exotics. I have the trifecta. I don't know why I have the 5 and the 6 there. That makes absolutely no sense to me, Charles. It should be. Again, I was trying to rush at the end to get some things back together again. It should be 3, 8, and 12 with the 3 and 12. I really like that 12 rolling at the end there with the 2, 3, 8, 11, and 12. I love how my numbers don't match up sometimes, but I really like Google Sheets. Thank you for allowing us to change things in real time. And all it takes is a Gmail account. So they can spy on everything you're doing so that you can show people in real time what horses you like. Is that a good trade-off, Charles? What do you think?
Yeah, it depends which side of the coin you're on, that one.
Yes. Well, I guess if you're Andrew Snowden, you're not too happy about that one. Or
no.
What was the other cat's name? Snowden, and the other one, Julian Assange, right? Those
Julian
two.
Assange. Oh, yeah. He's messed up. He's still in. Yeah, he's
But at least he got Pamela Anderson close to her prime as his girlfriend for a while. That was probably worth it.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe not though, right?
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, it's tough to say unless you know her. All right. Anyway, 6.5 furlongs allowance, $50,000. The purse is $57,000 for 3-year-olds, which have started for a claiming price of $50,000 or less, and which have never won a race other than maiden or claiming. So we're going to try to find its first win outside of those ranks. As far as 6.5 furlongs, profile of a winner, it looks like early speed does okay. Only 21% though go wire to wire, which is still a pretty hefty number. There is a rail penalty, so odds on Tony. That one could struggle a bit. Post 2 and 3 somehow do really well, even though the rail doesn't. So it's kind of a peculiarity there. 4 and out, they're really close to fair. Charles, 21% of the time the horse goes wire to wire. In the 6th race, it looks like you got that trio in the middle, the 3, 4, and 5. That will try to make that happen.
Yeah, between the 3 and the 5, they got both 29 or basically 30% chance each of trying to have that lead at the quarter pole. You know what? I think they're both going to go out there, and I think they're both going to just kill each other off personally.
Well, that's not nice.
Well,
you should never use those words in horse racing.
Oh, okay.
They'll tire one another out.
They'll knock each other out. How about that? And the 4 might even be part of that deal too. So with that 20% chance, we got a simulation odds here. The 2 is slightly under 9-1, and the morning line says 12-1. And then the 5 is slightly under 4-1, and the morning line is 5-1.
It's 15-1 on that 5.
Oh, 15-1. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Big overlay.
Yeah, that's a big overlay. And then you got the 9. Yeah. The 9 is slightly under 3-1. You got 4.5-1 on morning line.
And a bunch of high C-zone scores there. You got, 4 of them in the 70s. So really strong chance that the 2, the 6, the 8, and the 9 find the speed of this race to their liking.
And if you notice that the 2 big speed, well, actually the 3 speed horses have the lowest C-zone.
Yeah, so maybe they're faders, I would guess, right? That would probably be the moral of that story. Again, the 2 horse here, Lone E, Lone Pilot, one that likes to be on the front when it runs its best. Will that happen? It actually has some of the lowest early pace numbers in here, at least recent bias. Another one that could be one that they all get out there and chase, although low knees, you got to be a little bit worried about them. That 6-horse Money Run has a 6-point advantage over everybody else. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that 6-horse tail that 2-horse, maybe that 8-horse, let those 2 cheap speeds go out there, run some comfortable fractions, and then try to bring it home with the late speed, which belongs to the 9 and the 8. But if you really look at it, the 1, the 2, the 6, the 8, and the 9, they all have some pretty similar late speed in there. That quartet or 5 horses, that handful of horses should do pretty well as they're coming down the stretch. But overall, Money Run should make a money run. It has a 9-point early speed, late speed combination over everybody else. When you get borderline 10 points, again, horse that you have to have in your picks, doesn't necessarily mean that that one's going to win, Charles, but it means it has a pretty good shot of finishing in the money.
Correct.
So in race number 6, we both have that horse as our winner.
Yeah, and he's going to be very tough to beat. I have that he has very tactical speed here. Well bet last time out. Ran third last time. Has Irad aboard. So, yeah, it's going to be tough to beat. I like the 7 as my second choice. Ran third last time out. Second start after a layoff. Drops in class. Gets Tyler. And then the 9 ran third last time out. Trainer gets 20% with this angle. Sprint to route to sprint. And Saez is aboard. So makes that horse very compatible to this race. And then the 8 is my price horse, if you want to call 3-1 price. Ran second last 3 times. Cuts back in distance. And once again, there's another horse that could sit right there about third or fourth and make one good move. And that's why I have a try box here, and I'll take the 6, 7, 8, 9 try box.
Right in order.
In order.
In order. Not ice cold, but in order. I have the 6-horse Money Run. Does have that very strong early pace, late pace edge that we spoke about there in the race shape as well as the pace shape. Did run a peak speed number last time out, which concerns me because in its 9-horse race, it's hit a peak number twice before and followed both of those races with major, not minor, but major regression. Hopefully switching to Irad Ortez helps here. But again, every major peak number was followed by big time regression afterwards. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a vulnerable favorite. Number 5, Captain Jack. Great song from Billy Joel, if you can remember back to like the 60s, 70s, long time ago. Maybe that one didn't like running on all weather in its debut. It looks to me like it was scheduled to run on the turf. Maybe got rained out, moved it to the all weather at Gulfstream Park. Didn't like it very much. Next time around, went out on dirt and really liked that. So it went on to win, close to the pace. Today, it's going to get a 10-pound weight break. So speed, 10 pounds. Our good friend Tom from Foreign Fridays, which, by the way, we won't have tomorrow, but we'll be back next week for Foreign Fridays. We won't have it on Friday, this Friday. But Tom loves that, says 10 pounds equals 2 lengths. Every 5 pounds equals 1 length, according to Tom. Number 8, Counter Spy. Ran a Z pattern in its last race, so the early pace is here. The mid-pace numbers dipped, got its second wind in the stretch, and made some really strong gains at the end of its last effort. And one that should, Charles, do well in your favorite handicapping angle, the third start after a layoff. Looks like fair odds at 3-1 as well. Finally, the 9-horse Fight Fiercely. Simulation says this one is an overlay, should be close to 5-2, 9-2 morning line right now. Has that very strong C-zone score. We've seen that combination before, and perhaps today that combination is aided by a little bit of a cutback in distance. Trifecta for me again, 50 cents with the 5 and the 6. I'm kind of hoping that 5 upsets that one, that you see that 6-horse peak number regress pattern continue. With the 5, 6, and 8, with the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm doing like you, Charles, except I'm throwing the 5 in there and going with all the horses on the outside, Race number 2, Charles, looks like it's about to kick off. Looks like they got about 1 minute. So let's go back to race number 2. And in this race, this is the one with all of those 2-year-olds in here, Charles. So looking at it, looks like the 9-horse is pretty, I don't know, it looked like he got a little spooked right there for a second. But his ears are all over the place, Charles. So if you're a trainer and his ears and his head are all over the place, what are you thinking?
He's just trying to figure out where all the sounds are coming from common sounds like birds to tractor sounds or anything. So he's curious. But with 2-year-olds, it's one of the toughest races to get a horse prepared for, because everything in the world is new to them, you know. And you just finished breaking them, you just finished training them. They're learning their routines in the barn, when they get fed and when did they get walked and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things. Everything's constantly new. Everything is.
Yeah, it looks like they're all. 4-horse looks like it's a little disturbed with what's going on too. Shaking his head.
Toes,
He's shaking his head. He backed up a bit as they started to close in on other horses. Although I got to say, his ears are, they're becoming active. At first they were pinned forward, but now they're mostly pinned forward.
As long as they're not washed out. When they wash out, that means they're super nervous. As right now, it looks like so far every horse I've seen has not looked like they've been washed out. So I expect them all to be looking around and on their toes a little bit. But
so the one thing I did see in the 4-horse that I recall, I was reading an article about body language on horses. And, everybody has their opinion on the body language from horses. But the one thing that somebody who studied it, an academic study, there was one thing that they found that was somewhat predictive, Charles, and that was that their tails were at like a 45-degree angle. So far, 2 horses have gone in with their tails. At one point, we're at 45-degree angles. They're the 4, and it looked to me like either the 10 or the 11. It was one of those 2 outside horses that were loading. So for sure the 4. I'm not sure if it was the 10 or the 11 that went in already. And then let's see, I think is the 11 going in now. So no, it had to be the 10 then, because the 11 is just going in now. So let's see if the 45-degree tail angle works. Oh, they're actually all off right now. And holy hell, that 12-horse just said, I am out of here. But that was the Wesley Ward horse, though.
Yeah.
But outside speed, Charles, is going to be tough to get around them. It looks
they flying. I don't even know what the time is, and I can tell you they're flying.
Yeah, it's only 4.5 furlongs. You got the 2 and the 9. That duo is battling it out right now up on the front. If speed continues to hold, here comes, it looks like the 12-horse. The 7 is tailing off a little bit. So as they come out of the turn in 22 and 3, so only about a second faster than they ran in the 7-furlong race. That trio looks like it's up on front. The 9-horse is just kind of wobbling all over the place. Here comes the Wesley Ward horse at 12-1. That 12-horse is looking like your winner. The 9-horse is struggling to hang on because that guy is just running sideways. Circle that one in your calendars, folks.
Yeah.
For your horses to keep an eye on, because he ran all over the track and he still managed to finish. I don't know who finished second. The 11 there, it looks like to me. Charles came in second.
Yeah, who was on the rail?
I think it was the 11. And unfortunately, I had him 4th and not in my 3rd spot. If he just nicked the 9.
I would actually say look out for the 11 next time out, because that horse did a lot of work.
Was that the 11? No, I don't know. I don't think it was the 11, Charles. I think it might have been the 5. I can't tell.
Yeah, because 11 came up on the rail.
Was it the 11 or the 2? I can't tell who that was. I think maybe it was the 5. I can't really tell who that was, huh?
So the 9 was all over the place, and the 11's coming up on the rail.
I don't know if it was the 11 or the I can't tell what that was.
I know the camera.
Because the other horse that 12 just ran away from him. Again, just keep that in mind, folks. These short sprints, you see a Wesley Ward horse, just circle it. They do well. Look, and the jockey never even asked the 12 to do
well, because they popped the gate, so that puts him automatically in a great position.
Well, he popped the gate, got caught wide, and still ran away.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was the 5-horse in there that was that managed to finish 3rd. I don't know. So
that 9 even had a terrible break. He bumped and geez.
Yeah, he had a horrible race.
He
was green as hell. And then and anyway, that 12-horse. Again, it's one of those things in those conversations that we have with, folks on the Horse Center show with Chantel. She mentioned that Wesley Ward, those horses are always ready just to burst on the scene. Actually, it went 12, 9, and then the 5-horse at 38-1. So the 5 did not catch the 9. So I didn't unfortunately have the 5 in the back end of my trifecta either. So in any case,
So
had the
then
exact ice cold. No, what can you
So
do?
that 5 did do a very good job because he weaved in and out. That was the 5 then that I was looking at.
And then
That
the
was
10.
weaving. Yeah.
So mark that 5 horse down and mark that 9 horse down in your horses to watch because those efforts were really pretty nice.
Yeah. Because that 5 had to do a lot of weaving and
Yeah, he did do a lot of running around. All right, so that wraps up. Any good horses? Well, we've gone through all of our picks except for races 7 and 8 at Keeneland, and we'll rewind to all of our picks.
and I'm 2 for 2 on my first pick 5.
Beautiful. So you got 3 more to go. So hopefully you catch them all. That's the name of the game, Charles. That race of death in the middle. You got 2 races of death though, right? Because you're going to go 5 and 4. Yeah. So you got 2 races of death. I hate those one race that can kill both.
On my second pick 5, I took 4 horses. My first pick 5, I took 2.
So in the 7th race, which is where we're going to go now, 2 races left to go at Keeneland. That 7th spot is a race where they're going to run 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. It's an allowance, 120 grand, non-winners of 2, which are running for a purse of $120,000. 1 mile and a 16th on the grass in Lexington, Kentucky. There've only been 9 races so far, but 2 of them managed to go wire to wire. There is a very strong, or at least a noticeable so far through the first 9 races, inside 3 bias, 4 and out have played under par. Bunch of scratches here on the outside horses, Charles. I've eliminated those horses from this cheat here, so they're not in here any longer. But the one which was not an also eligible did scratch out very late. Early speed, if that manages to go wire to wire for the 3rd time in 10 races. Looks like that Sister Luann is going to be the one they have to run down.
Yeah, the 8. It's going to be the speed. I'll be out there winging it. About a 49% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. Probably be tough to catch at the end, but I think she will because you got a couple other horses to soften her up. The 4 at 22% and possibly that 10 at 11% to have that lead at the quarter pole. But simulation odds, we are looking at pretty much the 11 is slightly under even money, and it's even money in morning line, so it's not much of an overlay there.
Well, let's say it should be about 1 to 2, so about a 50% overlay, yeah.
Yeah, and then 12 is 5 to 1, and the morning line is 10 to 1.
As far as our strong C-zone score, boy, Flirting Bridge looks like this race could go its way. A little bit of an overlay, as we mentioned. Very strong C-zone score. I know you singled that one up, Charles. You had kind of forecast that a little bit earlier when we talked about your pick 5. And here, the 8 horse does stand out as a lone E horse. So it's a horse that could get to the front. Likes to be on the lead. Let's see if it's going to actually have the lead. In this case, it is going to have the lead. So the 8 horse, speed horse, should be on the front. That 10 horse, Mademoiselle Nova, that one is a left arrow horse, a closer. But most of these horses in here are closers. When I see a shape like this where you have a lone speed with a bunch of horses that either want to be in the back or chase, like the 4, 6, and 7, sometimes those horses can get comfortable fractions and be very difficult to pass down the stretch. If they're going to stretch it down, they are going to pass down the stretch. It does look like they had 11 horse Flirting Bridge end of 3, 1-time Mo. That duo is going to have a lot of late pace, but looks like there's plenty of company on the late chase, as many of them have very similar numbers. Finally, if we look at the complete race, you have, again, pretty much even a lot of these horses. It's going to be a very competitive race is what you expect from an allowance, $120,000 race at Keeneland. Although we think it's competitive, we both think that 11 horse is going to be the most competitive.
Yeah, on the charts and our simulations, it says it's pretty competitive. But I see this race totally 100% setting it up for the 11. Like we said, the 8 probably going to go out in front. But I think it's going to be pressured by the 2, possibly the 10. But it's going to go out there, and I think it's going to get weakened at the end. And I think the 11 will catch him. Ran 3rd last 2 times. Walsh gets 18% with 90 plus days off. So you got a fresh horse drops today, and you get Tyler, who loves Keeneland. So there you go. And that's for my first choice. My second choice, I think the 8 will hang on for second. The trainer gets 24% with 90-plus days. Trainer gets 32% second time with Lasix. So that's a good angle there. And the 9 is my third choice. One last time out. The trainer gets 20% with 46-plus days off. Saez is aboard. And then my price horse will be the 4, which I think is another one that might be up there pushing that 11. I mean, not 11, the 8, excuse me. And the 4, one last time out, second after a layoff, second start after a layoff. And the trainer gets 42% on that angle also. So
nice number.
That's that horse right there.
I'm going to go with the 11, Flirting Bridge, really close to winning 3 out of its 4 races since shipping over here, primarily from Ireland. Did run, I think, at the Royal Ascot as well, which is, those are high-class races. I think it ran against a horse called Alcohol Free, which is a pretty solid horse over in Europe. She was running in group races over there, which are their equivalent over there to our graded stakes races. So this is a bit of a downgrade. Well, at least compared to his running over there. Number 12, Lady Poochie. The last time she ran at this level, she won, and that was at Keeneland, on Keeneland turf. That race, though, was at a mile. So this one's about a 16th of a mile longer. Been off since late November, but if you look at that work tab, it is solid. The 8-horse Sister Luann, you have Irad and Safi Joseph Jr. Together, they've only teamed up 12 times, but they've managed to collect the big check, the winner's check, 6 out of 12, 50%. Horse is getting second-time Lasix as a speed horse. I like Lasix and speed, that combination. So apparently does Safi Joseph Jr., because in the 151 times his horses have a second dose of Lasix, they managed to win 48. So just slightly under 30%. Finally, then, and that's a big data set too, 151 races. 9, Blissful is my last choice. Been at this distance on the grass 3 times. Managed to find the winner's circle in 2 of those. And since the horse last ran on February the 16th, so really not all that long ago, has put in 20 furlongs of workout. So should continue to be a horse that's ready to run. You're going to do a $10 exacta, ice cold, Charles, the 11 and the 8?
Yeah, 11 on top of the 8. Like I said, my final 2 races, that these are going to be very sharp prices. So I'm going 11 on top of the 8, $10 exacta.
I'm going to do my try. I don't know how I spelled it there, but it's a different form of trifecta.
It's a trifecta.
Yeah, I mean, you can pronounce it that way. 8, 11, 12 with the 11, 12 with the 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12. Final race on the card today. My good friend Charming Charles, is a 7 furlong allowance race for $10,000. They started off at 7 furlongs. They're going to end it off at 8 furlongs. And as we spoke about in the beginning at the top of the show, they've only run 7 races at 7 furlongs. So this one's going to be the 9th. In that first race, we saw a horse go wire to wire. So that's 3 out of the 3 out of 8. So now 38% of the horses have gone wire to wire. I was going to say none won from the rail, but that first horse won from the rail. So maybe we'll get a second one that went from the rail here. 2 through 7 had been performing the best. 8 and out had a penalty. Got a ton of scratches to contend with here, Charles. But if you're going to look for early speed, one to go wire to wire, it's not going to be the 1 this time. It looks like it'll be the 9. 'Tis our turn.
Yeah, it could be the 9, but you know what? I'm not going to put it past the 1 to take the lead, to be honest with you. With all these scratches in here, I thought this horse was one of my best bets before the scratches.
Mm-hmm.
So now you take out a couple of the horses I thought had speed and stuff. So yeah, I like this horse a lot. So the simulation odds, I don't think you're going to get what we see on the 1 there. It
looks like right about there they have it at about 2 to 5.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see 1 to 5.
Yeah, well, it's close to
I really do believe that, and that we have no other. Maybe the 3, but I think that's going to change now. It was slightly under 5 to 1. You were morning line of 8.
Probably more like 7 to 2 with all the scratches now.
Yeah, it's going to be right around that number, maybe 4, maybe 3 to 1. So we'll see.
Finally, let's see how these horses like to race when they win. So you do have some speed. I did eliminate the horses that were scratched. So you got plenty of pace here. The 3, the 7, the 9, the 1, the 6, and the 10. You don't really have a pure closer in here. So all these guys can be close to the front. And if we take a look at what the recency bias says, it says that 6 horse, L's Big Secret, that one has a little bit of an early pace advantage over everybody else. So it could be up on the front. Where this race might be one, Charles, for that 1 horse is the late pace in there. Does have an 8-point advantage over the next closest horse. So if it's sitting second or third, should have enough energy, enough monster drink in it to make it to the finish line before the sugar crash. And then the early pace, late pace combination, the 1 horse with a 12-point advantage over the next closest trio, the 3, the 6, and the 10. It looks to me like the 1 horse is the one that should win this race, Charles, although I don't feel like 1 to 5 is fair odds. 2 to 5 is fair odds.
Well, 1 to 5 fair odds. I don't know. It's hard to even pick any other horse to beat this horse. It really is. So the 1 is my best bet of the day. 1 last time out. This horse has the tactical speed to do whatever he wants to do to win this race. I personally think he's going to probably just take the lead and just go. IRAD's on. He's not going to let anybody by. So that's how I see it. The 7 is my second choice. Won the last 3 times. Definitely has some speed to keep up, but trainer gets 33% drop after a win. So you got some good angles for this horse, but I just don't see it keep up with the 1. And then the 10 is my third choice. Ran 3rd last time. Hess claimed this horse back, so there was a lot of things he liked about it. Tyler gets aboard. And then if you want to say there's a price in this race, I guess it'd probably be the 3, which would probably be right on a 3 or 4 to 1. Ran 2nd last time, cuts back in distance. Should like this distance because it's the first time he's running at 7 furlongs.
And you're going to do a $10 exacta ice cold, the 1, the caramel chip. Over to 7, 2 worlds. I am going to take the 1 horse caramel chip. Yeah, I kind of want to get rid of that one off the top of your picks, but it's up at speed figure 4 races in a row. Looking at that top last race figure last out. And if you look at those late speed numbers, they've just been getting aggressively better and just exploded in that last race, as we saw in its advantage, that late race advantage over the rest of this crew. 2 worlds, better times last time out. That was at 1 mile and 70 yards relative to a mile. So if you run longer and you run faster, that's doubly fast. My concern is the horse is coming, I think, from Hawthorne. So you have a little bit of a track upgrade relative to some where other horses have been running. High heater, consistent performer with some distance that it likes here at this goofy 7 furlong races, the in-between the sprints and the routes. It's tried it 4 times, won 2 of them, and came in 3rd in another. And lastly, Improbable Story, another one that's increased its speed figure 4 consecutive races in a row. Was better late in its last race, so showing some late race enthusiasm can be a sign of a horse with momentum coming into today. If it rains by then, I would upgrade this guy, but it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day out there in Lexington, Kentucky. Any rain in the forecast there, Charles, today?
No, I don't even have to look at the weather to tell you that one.
All right.
It's beautiful out here.
1-7 trifecta with the 1-7-10. Hopefully that 7 can topple the 1, and then the 10 can topple the 1, and then something else other than the 1 can come home for a nice trifecta to end the show. As far as our entire picks look like, what's left anyway of this 8-race card, let's pull up all of our picks for today. Charles through race 3. Charles is still alive going into race 3. The 3 horse in his pick 5 right now is the heavy favorite at 3 to 5. Any final thoughts before we get back together again tomorrow, Charles, for Keeneland? I'll be in Philly. You'll have to run. So we're probably going to get started somewhere between 9 and 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So a little bit earlier than normal. And most likely we won't have the scratches at hand. So we'll have to make some adjustments for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, everyone enjoy the good weather that's coming to everywhere. And my hearts go out to everyone that lost anyone in the shootings here in Louisville, Kentucky. That was a terrible thing. And that's about it. Let's get some winners.
Just nutty people, man. Come on, folks. If you if you feel bad about things, don't write letters and take off. Just go see a psychologist. Go, cool off for 10 days. Go to the barn. Think to yourself. Do something. Go drink yourself till you pass out, so that that thought leaves your mind. Whatever. leave the rest of us the hell alone. We're just trying to do what we want to do, right, Charles?
Yeah, just trying to live our lives. But people do struggle with some of these things. And like you said, hey, talk to a family member, talk to a friend, talk to a neighbor, anybody, and just tell them, hey, this is what I'm thinking right now. It's okay to say that, so then they could listen and talk to you and help you with that.
I don't know that I would tell them. If you go tell them, hey, I'm going to go do what he did, you're going to end up. That's probably why they don't tell them that. Any case, if you're going to bet today at Mahoning Valley, which is probably running already, I'd imagine the weather's similarly beautiful there in Ohio as it is in Kentucky. It is our free track of the day at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link in the description down below. Don't forget this evening, 8 o'clock, Jareth Loveberry with Sean and Jamie. I think Jareth is going to have a Kentucky Derby mount. So if you have any questions for him about getting prepped for that, what that's going to be like, all that sort of excitement, it's one of the few places on the internet where you can interact with these people. Just put a question in the comments, and as long as it's a normal question, it gets answered usually. All right, Charles, that wraps it up for today. We'll see you tomorrow again a little bit earlier for Keeneland. Looking forward to the next 6 races. Until we get back together again today, we certainly hope that you have God's grace and God's favor, and that no matter what it is that you're doing today, that it ends up in the only place we want everything to end up, Charles, and that is
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us again. Thumbs up if you like the show. Hit the subscribe button and follow us on our social sites. And until we see you tomorrow, have a fantastic hump day.
See ya.